In terms of audience interpretation, it's quite obvious that it's an adventure game, that it's point and click. It sets itself out to be that, and links with its name, Indiana Jones, to the film series. So there's nothing really surprising there about what kind of game it's going to be, and it's going to have some strategy built in as well. Should appeal to boys and girls. I know it's quite stereotypical with a male lead and a female companion, but should, through point and click adventure, appeal to both genres, and as we've said before, appeals to teenagers and possibly a slightly older audience than Monkey Island, because there's some of the more complex puzzles that are involved, some of them quite logical and mathematical, and slightly less humour throughout, and slightly more adult humour throughout, really. So less jokes and more adult humour and tongue-in-cheek. In terms of passive audience, so it's difficult to be passive within this, because you have to sort of solve lots of different problems and be very aware. So it's quite complex in some of the problem solving, and you've got to look and observe throughout the game quite carefully and combine lots of different objects in lots of different ways. And with it being less linear as well, with different ways of solving things, switching between characters, switching between locations, then it's not that passive at all. I suppose it could be passive in the sense that you can go away and leave it and come back again and think about it. So it's not quick action, so to speak, although there are some elements that you can switch to combat mode. But you've really got to be quite observant throughout to be able to solve the problems and think sometimes outside the box to be able to work out how things can be combined together to make another object that's going to be useful in terms of solving problems. No real preferred readings, no real underlying message. The storyline, as we've said, is about some kind of mystical object that's going to make one side win the war over the other, but that's completely fictitious, and so it's not really true to life. I suppose in terms of readings and other links, you could say that it links to the Indiana Jones films, and it links to the previous game, like Monkey Island. It's clearly a development in the series, and leads to future games as well, as we'll see with the next one in line, which is Day of the Tentacle.